I'm Jared.
I'm Marcus.
Level with us. Hello and welcome to Level with Us, the show where we have a cozy video game discussion every week. And this week we are celebrating 50, count them, 50 episodes.
That was a party favor. Woo!
Don't you have a kazoo that you own that you could play for us?
Dang it. I'm unprepared. Jared, edit in a kazoo sound. I'm just joking. I don't want to make you do more work. This is a celebration. A celebration of us.
That's right. We have been doing Level with Us for over a year now, and we have done a few little bonus things now and then, but this is our 50th full episode where we either talk about a game that came out recently or spotlight an indie title or ask each other very unfair fake fan questions.
Extremely upsettingly unfair.
That's right. It's kind of cool that our segments haven't changed much throughout our run. You know, I think our show has changed, but I don't think the hallmarks of the show have much. So we still have star pieces and quick jabs.
Who could forget? That's how you should refer to these. Be like,
who could forget fake fan questions? So, congratulations, Marcus.
Congratulations,
Proud
Jared.
of you. Congratulations,
Proud of you.
Marcus.
Congratulations, Jared.
Congratulations. Well, now that we're done congratulating ourselves, today we will be doing a largely unedited episode where we kind of just reminisce a little bit, talk about the show, talk about our favorite episodes that we did, talk about the future of the show, and maybe even sneak in some Who's the Fake Fan questions towards the end. Oh, and we'll be announcing the winner to our game giveaway, where we're giving away a copy of A Short Hike or credit towards another indie title. So look forward to that at the end. But to dust off an old classic, let's do What's Happening. This is usually the part of the show where Marcus sums up the game by writing a cute poem or reading the game summary. But this week, What's Happening is going to be, I'm going to rename this, What's Happening in Our Lives. Some people might be wondering more about us, what we do. And so this is kind of a chance for us to talk about ourselves.
I love talking about myself.
Great. Then why don't you start us off?
I'm just going to school still. I've gone through like 2 to 3 different jobs since starting this, like simultaneously. I wasn't like hired, fired, but like that's been kind of up in the air. Started dating a really cool gal. And
congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you. And man, besides that, I've been playing a lot more video games because of this podcast.
It kind of has been an excuse to buy more, because now it's like, oh, I should play that at some point. It's less of that and more of, I need content for the podcast. This is a business expenditure, even though we don't really make money off of the show, which is dangerous, but also cool in its own way. I think I've played way more indie titles this year than I would have if not for the show.
Mm-hmm.
As for myself, I am an audio engineer. I think I've shared that on the show before. So I work at a recording studio where we record people doing voiceover in different foreign languages, as well as some English projects as well. And it's fun. It's great. It's kind of hard to do 40 plus hours a week and then still make time for this. But that's one reason I wanted to celebrate this show, is because when we started, I was like, Marcus, let's make sure this is not one of those things that has like 2 episodes on Spotify and then isn't updated for 6 months. You know, like let's actually strive to do weekly episodes. And for the most part, with some exceptions, we accomplished that. And I think that's worth celebrating. So, tell us about your hobbies, Marcus. What are some things you enjoy that aren't video games? Because really, that's all we talk about on the show, is we cut the fluff and we just talk about the game we played. But what other kinds of things do you do in your spare time?
I do think that we kind of sneak in occasional other interests of mine and ours. For example, music, composing music specifically, writing. We've plugged stuff I've written before. A lot of creative stuffs, but I also just enjoy long walks on the beach. you know?
We don't live near a beach.
Long walks in the park, you know? I don't know. Yeah, what other... You know me, Jared. What other hobbies should I talk about?
I guess we did share this on the show at one point, that you are a fan of escape rooms and in kind of creating your own micro escape rooms that you can store within a briefcase. But I've also just kind of been impressed with the other little works that you've made, whether that be in role-playing or an actual physical puzzle booklet or the like. So I hope we can make a video game someday, because I think it would be really cool to see you design for that, because I've seen a lot of other projects you've made that are super creative, and I want to get more creative as well. It's one reason I was so proud of the Mina the Hollower thing we made. Yeah, because that was kind of done in our spare time, and despite full-time work and full-time school for you, we still managed to win with that. So I want to do more stuff like that, and maybe we'll talk more about that when we talk about the future of this show. But I hope we can create more things that people are interested and excited about.
For sure.
So when you think about Level With Us, what's your favorite episode we've ever done? Whether that's a game you really liked or maybe a guest you really enjoyed, what episode is your favorite looking back?
I don't think I have a singular favorite, but I definitely have highlights, and really any guest episode we did was a highlight. I remember especially enjoying doing the episode with Dear Herschel. It was awesome.
Dearest Herschel.
Thank you. Talking about Leighton with someone else who's passionate about that series was so nice. And he also is way cool. Bob is. And all the other guests as well. I think one of my favorite episodes conceptually was one that you did a surprise quiz on me. You did the Elden Ring Name That Character.
Yes.
I thought that was, if I listen back to it, I probably sound pretty frustrated maybe at some point, but I remember just really being impressed and enjoying the ludicrousy of both your descriptions and the actual descriptions, and I felt like it highlighted your ability to trick me. It made it very fun. I liked that.
That was really fun. Any time that I get to stump you and make you squirm,
beautiful.
It's a fun time for
me.
me.
We're brothers after all.
Yes.
Oh, and I will just you asked favorite games as well as part of that question. Just kind of looking through our old episodes, the Triple Decker Deck Builder, all three of those games I think are solid. And I can't remember how I felt about them when we recorded, but at this point, Slay the Spire, Griftlands, and Dicey Dungeons, I think those are all fantastic games, which I think kind of tells me that that's a genre that I vibe with.
For sure. I'd love to cover more games in small quantities. Mm-hmm. It can be harder to do because there's more to play, but it's kind of fun to condense our discussion and cover more ground instead of waiting week by week. For me, my favorite episode, kind of the same boat as you, like I kind of default to just the times that we met with Matthew Toronto and Ray Hargraves, as well as with Dallin for Metroid. I think those were such a fun time. Editing for 3 people is way harder, but it was worth it because we got some just really, really excellent commentary from each of them in their respective fields of experience, I should say. And they're also just really great people. When it comes to classic Level With Us episodes, my favorite is the one where we covered Toem. That was just a little indie game about photography, but it's so cozy, and that's kind of what I want this show to be, is a cozy video game discussion every week. And so it was a cozy game to have a cozy discussion about, and I loved that you shared some music that you wrote that was inspired by it. And then it was really cool that not too much longer after that, you got to meet one of the composers, Launchable Socks, at GDC.
Yeah, it was wild. I'm trying to remember what he said exactly, but it sounded like he was aware of the podcast or something. It was like, oh yeah, I seem to remember there was a podcast that highlighted
Well, the devs did retweet us, so maybe he saw that. But, yeah. Pretty cool. Speaking of which, this is not endorsed or sponsored in any way, but Toem has a free update recently with a new area and I'm sure new music, so I would love to dive back in and check that out sometime soon.
For sure.
what about your least favorite episode? Maybe one that just wasn't working well, or maybe it was a game that you just did not jive with. I think in the show, we generally are pretty positive. Even when it's a game we don't love, we still like treat it fairly and we don't get too negative because, the only negativity we allow for is quick jabs most of the time.
Yeah, most of the time.
But there are some games that did not appeal to us. So for me, I'll start this time. For me, I have to say Deponia was not my cup of tea. I really like point and clicks, but I didn't get very far on that one. And there's a lot to like about it. I like the characters and animation and stuff, but it just kind of dragged for me. And especially after playing Lost in Play, which kind of exceeded my expectations, it was kind of hard to get into that one. Same thing with Hoko Life. I got to talk with Denise from Seeing Stars Gaming about Hoko Life on the show, and she and I agreed after we finished, we enjoyed talking about the game, but she and I agree that there are just way better options when it comes to farming sims. Like, I was like, yeah, I didn't love it. And she's like, yeah, I didn't either, but I don't want to talk too negatively.
Right.
So what about for you?
Oh, man. Well, as far as like least favorite episodes of ours, I don't think I want to spotlight specific ones where I was off my game, because I don't want to point attention to those. But for games that we've covered, yeah, I don't think there have been any that have been like truly atrocious in any way. Like, none of them have been like really bad, but I've definitely had some that I just don't vibe with as much, which I would include that on that list. Maybe Demon Turf. Also, our most recent wave of indie games. I think we recently did a 3-parter as well, and all of those, I don't think any of them really like super caught me,
Mm-hmm.
But even those were kind of fun experiences, just for the case of playing a game specifically to, one, see if I have fun, but if not that, form opinions and try to make them sound like reasonable, well-informed opinions.
It's fun to kind of fill the shoes of a reviewer and kind of see, oh, yeah, they have to play games they don't want to spend 50 hours in.
Right.
But need to for work kind of thing. You and I are pretty selective about the games we pick. Well, I don't know. There's been plenty where I'm like, Marcus, I got a review code. We're going to talk about this one. And you're like, oh, okay. But most of the time, we are only choosing games that we think will appeal to us. But occasionally, something will just not quite meet our expectations, or maybe not be for us as an audience, I guess. Like that synth game, what was it called? The Signal State?
Yep.
Like, that one is not for me. Like, not in a million years.
Yep.
But it's cool that you found some enjoyment in it. And likewise for Demon Turf. I think I enjoy Demon Turf probably a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's been cool to kind of stretch our legs or stretch our arms. What's the right analogy here?
Stretch all of our appendages.
Yes, send our feelers out and sample the wide variety of video games that exist.
Yeah, I feel like, I'm still a novice, and I still wouldn't call myself a reviewer or a video games journalist or anything, but I feel like I have a better picture of the indie game scene, like the size of studios and how many there are out there, and what it means to be like a popular or a well-received indie game.
Speaking of popular, let's go to our most popular segment. Who's the fake fan?
Wow.
Fake fan?
The stakes are high, Marcus.
Oh, boy.
One of us is going to be considered a fake fan of our own podcast today.
All right. I would rather be a friend to the show than a fan of the show. So.
Aw. You all know the drill. We're going to ask each other a question and see how it goes. I actually brought 2 questions. What about you?
I have 2 questions, and I will choose which one to share depending on how hard your questions are.
I have 2, and they're multiple choice.
All right.
So they're pretty short. Do you want me to go first? Should I do one of them and then switch to you and switch back? Or?
Sure.
Okay. These are questions about our show, Level With Us. So let's see if you're a fake fan, Marcus.
All right.
So believe it or not, we're actually not the first podcast called Level With Us. There was one that's been around and posting as recently as 2020, I think. So my question for you is, what is that podcast called Level With Us about? Here are your options. health and well-being, true crime, neoclassical architecture, or modern Freemasonry?
All right. So I do think I know this, but I was excited to hear what your other options would be. The level with us in that one refers to leveling through the ranks of Freemasonry. So I'm going to go with a D.
That is correct.
Yeah. Wild. It's so left field.
I almost wish they were still running so their audience could be funneled into ours, when they're searching. No, I'm just kidding.
Sure. It would be the other way around, really. People would join the Freemasons because we gave them.
I think you're right. Fun fact is, I originally wanted to call this podcast like Game Club or like the Gamer Treehouse or just something that indicated a book club, but Marcus was really clever and came up with a phrase that could have multiple meanings. So where we get together to level with each other, but we're also leveling with each other in the games we're playing.
Oh my
Such
gosh,
a great
I just
name.
got that. I'm just joking.
Great name and a great theme song as well. So thank you for composing that.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right, what do you got for me?
There was an episode where you asked me to return to the video and respond in the video chat with an answer.
Correct.
What episode was that, and what was the answer you were looking for?
So, if I remember correctly, I challenged you in our episode about Tunic to find the changing rooms, which is a hidden area in the game. And I asked you, I'm glad you remembered, because I was actually going to remind you about this today. Because this was a while ago. I asked you to find it and then post in the comments of that video whether you found it. So are you saying I should go look at that video right now?
No.
And see if you've commented on it?
No, you shouldn't, because I haven't.
Oh, well, that means you failed that fake fan question.
I did fail it, and to this day, I think of people listening to that episode. I don't know if people binge our show, but if they do, every single one of them will be disappointed to see that there is no Marcus in the comments, because I don't think I had the time to look and find that place.
Ah, so sad, Marcus. So disappointed.
But I'm happy you remember, and I most certainly asked that question because I remembered exactly what you wanted me to do, and not because I wanted to remind myself.
This feels like a double-edged sword. You were trying to stump me with a fake fan question, but all you're doing is just proving you're more of a fake fan.
Exactly. Yes, 100%.
All right, well, I do have one more for you. Throughout the show, we've done many quick jabs, right? And we did a lot of quick jabs. We've done quick jabs almost every episode. But which quick jabs were the quickest jabs? I'm going to tell you 4 games that we covered on the show, and you have to tell me which one did we have the shortest quick jab
The quickest
section.
of jabs. All
yes,
right.
The quickest jabs. So which game did we have the least complaints about, I guess?
This is a great question, Jared. I like this a lot.
Okay, here are the games. Slay the Spire, A Short Hike, Slime Rancher 2, or Overboard.
Oh, man. Okay. I can't... Overboard was early on, so it's possible that we weren't really in the jive of dunking on games yet, but I think we had some significant stuff to say. The second to last one was Slime Rancher 2, is what you said?
Yes.
I can't remember what I complained about, but I know I definitely had something. So I don't think it was that one either, which leaves A Short Hike or Slay the Spire.
Yes, those are the first 2 options.
Okay, we famously love A Short Hike, but when you love something, you often want more from it. So I feel like this is a trick. I feel like I'm supposed to guess A Short Hike because we like that game so much, but Slay the Spire was in a triple-decker episode where it's possible that one of us didn't even have a quick jab. So I'm going to guess Slay the Spire.
That is correct.
Yes!
So Slay the Spire, we only had quick jabs for about 1 minute and 18 seconds.
Did you have to listen to every episode to get these counts?
I used the timestamps.
Oh, that helps. That's awesome. I forgot there were timestamps.
I wanted you to guess the longest jabs as well, but I actually did not write those down. So maybe one of our fans can tell us which game we complained about the most during our quick jab section. So,
Yeah.
But anyway, congratulations.
Hooray! A slight redemption arc for Marcus.
All right. Let's talk about the future of our show.
Let's do that.
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, we have talked extensively about this, so I will just take the initiative here and say we're going to start with Fortnite Tuesdays. Every week on Tuesday is about Fortnite. Then Wednesdays is Among Us Wednesdays.
You forgot Call of Duty. We're going to be talking about the mobile game for Call of Duty once a week.
No, this is an excellent question. What is the future of Level with us, Jared?
Well, I can give my opinion, but I'm only half of the equation.
Right,
You know?
for sure.
I'm not the only one putting the show here. I'm not the only one editing
Right.
it. I'm not the only one posting it and typing up all the descriptions.
All of the
and
things that you're
recording
mentioning are
game
things
footage.
that you do exclusively.
I'll share what my vision is, but I would love for you to chime in as well.
All right.
So this show started because I really wanted a book club for video games. I moved away from you, and I really, really liked that concept, and I wanted to kind of have a more structured, not, talk for 2 hours about it kind of thing, but a short form podcast where we can chat about a game and play it along with our listeners and level with them, so to speak. And in some ways, that's still kind of my vision for the future. Once we have a bigger install base, and, I'm going to be transparent, I would love to have more listeners so that we can, and not just more listeners, more active listeners who, write us and let us know what their insights are for the game, and kind of go week by week and progress through a game with them and kind of all meet together and share our star pieces and quick jabs. So I would love for that to be kind of the end goal. But our show has changed over time. We kind of did that a little bit in the beginning, but then we kind of moved into the fake fan segment and started doing that as an entire episode, like every other episode, right? We did the Elden Ring one, we did the Summer Vacation Challenge one, we did a few Name That tunes. And then the show started to change because we started getting review codes. The very first one we got was for the Stanley Parable, followed by Blossom Tales, which was the first pre-release code we got. And now we've been doing it almost every week. And so now our show has kind of become an indie game reviewing show. And I do enjoy that. I do want to continue doing that. And I'm pretty, like I mentioned before, I'm pretty selective when it comes to choosing titles. And when we redeem a code, I'm committed to talking about it on the show. I want to pay it forward, when these devs are so nice to just give us a free game. I want to actually make sure people know about it. So going forward, I would love to continue doing a bit of all of that. But if I could choose, I would love for us to eventually kind of be a game club. And maybe that would mean we take the form of me doing just a little solo episode now and then where I talk about a new release that's coming up soon. And maybe call those mini reviews and have those be in addition to our full Level With Us episodes. But I guess the biggest change overall for the future is that we're going to be slowing down a little bit. There's going to be less regularity in our updates. Realistically, I'd like to be bi-weekly, as in every other week. But that's kind of my thoughts. Thanks for letting me spill them all out. Tell me what you're contemplating.
I think that your vision for the podcast is my vision, in that I think that primarily this podcast is yours. I know I am an important part of it, but I think this is your podcast, and whatever you want it to be is something I'm willing to support.
Well, don't sell yourself short. I think the show wouldn't work without you. My least favorite episodes, going all the way back to our discussion about least favorite episodes, the ones where I was alone, I think those are my least favorite. And yet those are the ones that get the most viewers for some reason.
How curious.
Well, it's because they're about games like Pokemon that get, 8,000 views and listens, while the ones we actually care about, don't get that many. But that's okay. That's how it goes. But yeah, no, there's if the fans were listening right now and they were like, they found out that I was going to go solo from here on out, I don't know how many of them would want to stick around, to be honest. I think you bring so much color and life to our show, so much humor and a great perspective. So hope we can not split up like the Beatles,
For sure. For sure. That is the most recent example of a breakup in a band. Now I'm definitely happy to be a part of it.
One reason I want to do less frequent updates is I'd like to focus more on promoting the show, actually getting out there and doing collaborations and promoting the show with flyers and it's just finding ways to expand the audience so that we can keep on chugging along. But that isn't to say the show is going to slow down entirely. Like we've got lots of games to talk about still for this year and next year. And speaking of promoting the show, let's get into our game code giveaway. To enter, you're supposed to leave a review on Apple or tweet what you love about our show, or give us some constructive criticism through one of those or through an email. And I have randomly selected the winner, and the winner is... Can you give me a drum roll, Marcus? A.R. Robison. Woo! Congratulations. Please send us an email. Reach out to us at levelwithuspodcast@gmail.com, and we will get you that credit for the eShop or for whatever platform you prefer. Hopefully we can do more game code giveaways in the future. I think it'd be really fun to give back to our listeners,
For sure.
Cool. Well, that is everything I had down for our little celebration of Level With Us. Any last words before we disappear? Until we're back in a week or two.
We're going to be back. I'll just say my signature catchphrase.
Which is?
Drop in the comments below what you think my catchphrase should be. I'm pretty sure my catchphrase is, I'm Marcus.
And I'm Jared.
And we'll level with you next time.
Maybe it would be in poor taste, but I could also remind you that you need to make do on buying a game for the show or editing an episode, because that was one of our penalties for losing Who's the Fake Fan in our first 10 episodes, actually.
You can't possibly prove that I admitted to editing a show. It can't possibly...
Here's the clip. Well played, Marcus, and
well played.
We'll have to decide what game you are purchasing for us to cover on the show. But until next time, I'm Jared.
I'm a fake fan. It can't possibly be recorded. I would never say such a thing.